You thought rock bottom was where it all ended, didn't you? You thought when everything fell apart, when the doors closed, when the people walked away, when the bank account hit zero, when the betrayal came, when the depression set in, that was it. That was the final chapter. But what if I told you rock bottom wasn't your grave, it was the place where your foundation was finally poured? What if I told you that everything you lost was actually preparing the ground for everything you were meant to build? See, people think greatness is born at the top. They think success starts with applause, with claps, with praise, with followers. But greatness is born in silence. Greatness is born in darkness. It's born in the moments when nobody sees you, nobody believes in you, and all you got left is your breath and your will. Rock bottom isn't the place you die, it's the place you dig. When you're at the top, people see the view, they see the lights, they see the shine. But when you're at the bottom, the dirt is all around you, the weight is heavy, the pressure is crushing, but pressure only crushes what's hollow. If there's something real inside you, pressure will reveal it. Pressure will shape it. Pressure will harden it. That fall you thought was going to break you, it was the test. It was the fire. It was the process. Because let me tell you something real, you don't know who you are when everything's going good. You find out who you are when nothing works, when everything you counted on gets stripped away, when the people who said they loved you stop answering the phone, when your plan A turns into a nightmare and you're left with nothing but plan me. And that's the truth right there. Rock bottom introduces you to yourself. It makes you look in the mirror and ask, who am I when I have nothing? Who am I when nobody claps? Who am I when the lights go out? And if you're willing to answer that question, if you're willing to face that pain, you'll realize something powerful: you're still breathing. You're still alive. And if you're alive, that means you're not done. That means there's something in you that didn't die with what you lost, something in you that can't be broken. It can be buried, it can be bruised, it can be battered, but it can't be broken, and that something is your fight. That something is your truth, that something is your comeback. See, people run from the bottom, they try to avoid the pain, they try to skip the process, but what you don't realize is that every skyscraper you've ever seen had to go deep before it went high. The deeper the foundation, the higher the potential. And right now, your life is doing excavation work. It's digging. It's clearing out everything fake, everything fragile, everything that can't stand the storm. Because you don't build your legacy on shallow ground. You build it on truth. You build it on struggle. You build it on what you survived. That betrayal, that loss, that heartbreak, that failure, those are your bricks now. That's your cement, that's your rebar, that's your reinforcement. The people who left you, they didn't abandon you, they released you. They made room for real loyalty, real alignment, real strength. And if you're at rock bottom right now, let me say this to you: with everything I've got, you are not buried, you are planted. Seeds don't grow in light, they grow in dirt, they grow in dark, they grow under pressure. And you right now are being watered by pain, by time, by patience, by struggle. You don't see the growth yet, but that's because the roots are still forming, and roots take time. Roots dig deep. Roots anchor you so when the winds come, you don't move. So when the next storm hits, you don't fall, because you've been through too much to break now. So don't despise where you are. Don't curse the bottom. Don't run from it. Use it. Own it. Make it yours. Because when you come back, and you won't be standing on success. You'll be standing on everything that tried to destroy you. You'll be standing on heartbreak, on sleepless nights, on closed doors, on silent prayers, on lonely days, on invisible battles. And that's a foundation no one can shake. That's a foundation forged by fire, built in silence, sealed in faith, and rooted in truth. Everybody wants the crown, but nobody wants the cross. Everybody wants to be great, but nobody wants to go through the grind. You want to shine, but you don't want to suffer. You want power, but you don't want pain. And that's the part they never told you. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the entrance fee. You don't step into your next level without walking through the fire. You don't access real power without paying the price. And the price, it's not money. It's not connections. It's not luck. It's pain. The problem is, we've been trained to run from pain. Society told us to avoid it, numb it, escape it. Take the shortcut, find the easy way out, but you can't cheat the process. You can't pray your way out of what you need to grow through. If you bypass the pain, you also bypass the strength. If you avoid the struggle, you forfeit the strength. See, the reason pain is necessary is because power isn't handed out, it's earned, it's built. It's forged, and you forge it in the furnace. You build it in the valley. You create it in the tears, in the late nights, in the lonely moments when nobody sees you but the grind. You want to lead people. You want to inspire nations, then you better bleed before you speak. You better walk through something, because people don't follow the perfect. They follow the real. They follow the ones with scars, not the ones with trophies. They follow the ones who have been knocked down but chose to get back up. That pain you're feeling, that's not weakness, that's construction. That's the sound of your old self breaking apart to make room for the power version of you. That's your shell cracking open because you've outgrown it. You're not falling apart, you're leveling up. People keep asking, why me? Why am I going through this? But the real question is, why not you? If you want the power to impact lives, if you want the strength to build something real, then pain is the classroom, pain is the gym, pain is the proving ground. The greatest leaders, the greatest warriors, the greatest voices, they didn't skip pain. They didn't run from it. They embraced it. They learned how to sit in it, how to cry in it, how to grow in it, and most importantly, how to rise out of it. Stop thinking pain is a sign that something's gone wrong. No, pain is a sign that something real is being birthed. It's the stretching, it's the pressure. Diamonds aren't made in comfort. Muscles aren't built in rest. You've got to tear down to rebuild. You've got to be broken to be remade. You've got to be tested to prove your strength. And if you're going through something right now, if it hurts, if it burns, if it's heavy, that's your signal. That's your sign not to quit, but to focus, to lean in, to understand that this is where you find the next version of yourself. This is where you tap into the power that comfort could never give you. People think power comes from hype, from motivation, from applause. But real power, lasting, unshakable, unstoppable power comes from the pain that didn't break you. It comes from the nights you wanted to give up but didn't. It comes from the prayers you whispered when you had no words left. It comes from the tears you wiped alone and still showed up the next day. That's what pain produces, not just strength, but clarity, purpose, discipline, perspective. You don't just come out stronger, you come out wiser. You come out deeper. You come out with a fire that can't be put out by rejection, by failure, by setbacks. Because pain didn't just make you tougher, it made you unstoppable. So the next time you're hurting, don't ask for it to go away. Ask for the strength to go through it. Ask for the wisdom to understand it. Ask for the endurance to finish it. Because every ounce of pain you endure is making a deposit in your power. It's an investment in your next level. It's a down payment on your destiny, and no one can take that from you. They can take the followers, they can take the money, they can take the opportunities, but they can't take the power you earned through pain. Because that kind of power is rooted too deep. It's built on experience, it's sealed in suffering, it's protected by purpose, and it lives inside you now, permanent, unshakable, ready to rise every time life tries to knock you down again. You keep thinking something's wrong with you. You keep walking around feeling like you're damaged, like you're less than, like somehow you failed, like you missed your moment, like you're too late, too weak, too far gone. But what you don't understand is this: you're not broken, you're being built, you're under construction, you are in the middle of the process, and yes, it hurts, yes, it's confusing, yes, it feels like everything is falling apart. But sometimes falling apart is the exact thing that needs to happen before you can be put together the right way. See, we've been programmed to believe that pain means we're broken, that setbacks mean we're finished, that losing means we're not good enough. But that's not how growth works. Growth isn't clean. Progress isn't smooth. Purpose doesn't show up on a silver platter. Purpose shows up in pieces. It shows up in moments where everything feels like it's slipping through your fingers. It shows up in heartbreak, in disappointment, in rejection, in silence. It shows up when you're forced to sit still with your fears and face the truth of who you are and who you are not. You're not broken. What's broken is the picture you painted of how life was supposed to go. And that's okay, because maybe that version of your life wasn't big enough. Maybe it wasn't true enough. Maybe it wasn't strong enough to hold the weight of your calling, and so it had to collapse. It had to fall apart so you could start building something real. Something rooted, something unshakable. When a builder starts working on a masterpiece, it doesn't look like much in the beginning. Just noise, just dust, just mess. But that doesn't mean it isn't being built. That doesn't mean there's no vision. It just means the foundation is being laid, and that's the part nobody claps for. That's the part nobody sees, and some of you right now, you're judging your life too early. You're calling yourself a failure in the middle of the construction. You're comparing your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel. But what you don't see is that their shine cost them years of struggle. Their peace cost them battles you didn't witness. You want what they have, but you're not willing to go through what they went through. You can't skip the building season. You can't fast forward the process. If you do, you end up with a weak structure. You end up with a hollow frame. You end up with an image but no identity. So no, you're not broken. What you are is in progress. You are being carved, reshaped, molded into something stronger, wiser, bolder. The things you're going through, they're not signs of your destruction. They're proof that you're being developed. That pain you feel, it's part of the rebuilding. That confusion, it's part of the stretching. That delay, it's part of the preparation. And preparation never feels like progress until you get to the other side. Think about it. When you go to the gym and start lifting weights, what happens? Your muscles tear. You leave sore. You don't walk out feeling powerful, you walk out limping. But it's in that soreness that your strength is being built. And it's the same with your life. The emotional pain, the financial pressure, the spiritual drought, that's your life lifting weight. And as long as you keep showing up, as long as you don't quit, as long as you trust the process, you're not breaking down, you're building up. So stop saying you're broken. Stop saying you're done. Stop saying it's too late. You're being rebuilt with stronger material. You're being redesigned with deeper purpose. You're being equipped with greater perspective. This version of you, the one that's going through the fire, this is the one the world needs. Not the polished version, not the perfect version, the real one. The one who's been through something. The one who carries the wisdom of wounds. The one who's not afraid to rebuild from the rubble. Because that's where the strongest structures are formed, not from what stood, but from what fell and got rebuilt brick by brick with grit, humility, and purpose that can't be shaken. You thought the fall was failure. You thought it was the end. But that fall, that moment where it all collapsed, where you lost what you thought you couldn't live without, that was the lesson you were never going to learn at the top. That fall taught you more than any win ever could. It didn't come to destroy you. It came to teach you. Because sometimes the only way to really get it, to truly understand your worth, your purpose, your strength, is to lose everything you were depending on so you could finally see what's real. The fall was the wake-up call. The fall was the shift. The fall was the teacher. You see, as long as everything's going good, you don't question it. You don't check your circle. You don't test your foundation. You don't challenge your own habits. You don't examine your mindset. But the moment you hit the ground, that's when your eyes open. That's when silence starts speaking. That's when pain becomes a professor. It's not when you're winning that you grow the most, it's when you've been stripped, when you've been emptied out, when life says, let me show you who you really are, when the applause fades, when the likes disappear, when there's no backup plan. That's when the lesson hits. That's when the old version of you dies and the real one begins to breathe. You were never going to learn how strong you are until you got dropped, until everything you leaned on cracked under pressure. That relationship, that job, that fake confidence, it had to fall so you could face yourself without filters, so you could rebuild your life on truth, not illusions. The fall forced you to ask questions you'd been avoiding. Who am I really? What do I believe when everything's gone? What kind of fight do I have left when I'm the only one standing? Those questions don't show up in comfort. They don't show up in success. They show up in the dirt. They show up when your face is on the floor and your back's against the wall. The fall slowed you down so you could finally hear what matters. It broke your ego so your spirit could speak. It shattered your plans so your purpose could rise. It exposed what was fake so you could stop pretending. And in that fall, you discovered what can't be taught in books, what can't be learned in classrooms. You discovered truth. You discovered patience. You discovered grit. Not the pretty kind, the real kind. The kind that doesn't need an audience. The kind that gets up when everything hurts and still moves forward. The kind that says, this won't define me, this will develop me. But let me be real with you, the fall wasn't easy. It wasn't supposed to be. Growth isn't pain-free. Development isn't comfortable. You don't level up through easy days. You evolve through pressure, through loss, through confusion, through failure, and the fall was tailored just for you. It showed up exactly when you needed it. You didn't fall by accident, you fell by design. Because without it, you would have stayed in the same cycle, same mindset, same people, same fears. The fall interrupted the routine so you could finally wake up to the calling that's been knocking on your soul for years. You see, every great story has a turning point, and the fall was yours. It was the chapter that looked like the end, but it was really the setup for the transformation. It stripped you of everything comfortable so you could chase everything necessary. And it forced you to become someone deeper, someone sharper, someone more aligned with who you were always meant to be. The fall didn't come to break you. It came to open your eyes. It came to reroute your direction. It came to disconnect you from what was no longer serving you and reconnect you with your assignment. You thought you lost, but what you lost was what you no longer needed. What you gained, that insight. That toughness, that hunger, that humility, that vision that you didn't have before. And now with those lessons stitched into your soul, you're not just moving, you're moving different. You're not chasing approval, you're chasing purpose. You're not running from failure, you're using it as fuel. You're not bitter about the fall, you're grateful. Because without it, you wouldn't have learned the most important truth of all, that sometimes the worst moments in your life carry the greatest wisdom. Not because they feel good, but because they grow something inside you that success never could. Falling isn't the problem. Everybody falls, everybody fails, everybody makes mistakes. The problem is when you stay down. The danger is not in the fall, it's in believing that you don't have the strength to rise again. But the truth is, there's power in getting back up. There's power in standing when everything says you should stay down. There's power in choosing to move forward when quitting would be easier. That's where your greatness is. Not in how perfect you are, but in how persistent you are. You get knocked down, okay, but do you rise? Do you wipe the tears and stand anyway? Do you keep walking with shaky legs and a scarred heart and still say, I'm not done? Because that's what defines champions. It's not their comfort. It's not their convenience. It's not that life didn't hit them. It's that they got back up every single time it did. That's what makes people powerful. Not that they had an easy path, but that they refused to let the hard path stop them. You might have failed. You might have lost. You might have been betrayed, embarrassed, misunderstood, abandoned, counted out. But if you've still got breath in your lungs and a fight in your soul, you can rise. You can get back up. And when you do, you come back with more than what you had before. You come back with wisdom. You come back with scars that speak louder than degrees. You come back with experience that no book or mentor can teach, because the ground taught you something that the spotlight never could. See, there's something sacred about the comeback, something powerful about the decision to rise. People talk about success like it's always forward motion, but real success looks like falling on your face, getting back up, falling again, and refusing to stay down no matter how many times it happens. There's something spiritual in resilience. There's something unbreakable in that choice. Because when you rise after being knocked down, you carry the weight of every lesson. You remember what it felt like to be broken, to be desperate, to be afraid, and you build something better from it. You've got to stop seeing the fall as failure. You've got to stop letting it define you. It's part of your process. It's part of your making. You weren't supposed to stay on the ground. You were supposed to get up with more focus. More fire, more clarity, and now when you speak, it hits different. Now when you work, there's passion behind it. Now when you love, there's depth in it, because the version of you that got back up is not the same as the one who fell. You're not bouncing back as the same person, you're leveling up. You're not recovering what was lost, you're becoming someone who couldn't exist without the fall. You don't build calluses from watching others work. You don't gain strength from reading quotes. You build it when you push through. When you keep going even when nobody's watching, even when nobody believes in you, even when you don't even believe in yourself some days, and still you rise. That kind of power can't be taught. That kind of strength can't be faked. That's the stuff that changes lives. That's the kind of comeback that becomes a testimony. That's the story people remember, not that you never fell, but that you never stayed there. And maybe right now you're still on the ground. Maybe you're still bleeding. Maybe the voices in your head are louder than your hope. But if you just get one hand underneath you, if you just push with whatever strength you've got left, that motion alone is victory. That choice to rise, even shaking, even crying, even unsure, that choice is where your next chapter begins. Because the moment you rise is the moment you take your power back. The moment you say, you hit me, but you didn't finish me. The moment you shift from victim to fighter. The moment you stop asking why it happened and start showing why you're still here. That's when you realize you're not weak, you're rising. You're not broken, you're rebuilding. You're not lost, you're becoming. And all it took was that one decision to get back up and never be the same again. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants the victory, the title, the success story. But what nobody tells you is that the winning season doesn't grow you, the losing season does. The wins feel good, but they don't change you, they don't stretch you, they don't challenge your mindset, your discipline, your character. The wins confirm what you already know, but the losses force you to confront what you didn't know. They show you where you're weak, where you're lazy, where you've been blind, and that's where the growth lies, not in the comfort of victory, but in the discomfort of defeat. When you win, you celebrate. But when you lose, you evaluate, and in that evaluation, you find truth. You find the cracks in your foundation. You find the excuses you've been hiding behind. You find the patterns that are holding you back. The losses hold the mirror up and say, look at yourself, not your image, not your hype. Look at the real you. And if you've got the heart to really look, then that loss becomes the beginning of something new. Something deeper, something stronger, because what you learn in loss becomes the reason you win again, but this time with substance, with purpose, with grit that wasn't there before. See, most people chase the outcome, but few chase the becoming. And losing teaches you how to become. It teaches you how to show up when everything's not going your way. It teaches you how to stay focused when your plan fails. It teaches you how to lead yourself when there's no applause. And those lessons, they don't come when everything is perfect. They come when you fall on your face, when the plan backfires, when you give your all and still come up short. That's when growth introduces itself. That's when the process starts working on you. That's when you either quit or you evolve. And let's be real, the reason some people never grow is because they only chase wins. They avoid anything that looks like struggle. They only do what they're already good at, but real growth demands that you get uncomfortable, that you take losses, that you risk failure, that you stop playing it safe and start chasing purpose instead of praise. You've got to go through some L's if you want to see the real levels. You've got to learn how to lose like a champion before you can win like one. Because the people who dominate in life aren't the ones who never fell, they're the ones who learned how to rise better every time they did. The truth is, the loss doesn't disqualify you, it develops you. It strengthens the muscles that ease never could. It teaches you to endure, to adapt, to sharpen your tools. It humbles your ego. It clears your vision. It reminds you that you're not invincible, and that's good, because invincibility doesn't teach discipline. Invincibility doesn't breed hunger, but failure does. Failure makes you pay attention. It wakes you up. It fuels your drive in a way success never could. When you lose, you don't lose the goal, you lose the illusion. You lose the belief that you're entitled to win just because you showed up. You lose the false hope that shortcuts will carry you. You lose the noise, the hype, the distractions, and what you're left with is real, the grind, the lessons, the quiet hours, the truth. And if you embrace that truth, if you stay in the fire long enough, you come out with something money can't buy and followers can't fake. Growth that's rooted, strength that's tested, and a mindset that's unshakable. So if you're in a losing season right now, don't panic, don't quit, don't numb it, lean into it, because the pain you're feeling is the process working. The frustration you're battling is proof that your comfort zone is being stretched. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. You're not going backward, you're going deeper. And what you learn in this loss will make you dangerous in the next win, because now you've got perspective. Now you've got scars. Now you've got wisdom. And that kind of growth doesn't come from easy victories. It only comes from the lessons earned in defeat.